What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Sensitive Diva episode 6. Marcus was going to beat my ass if I didn't post this next episode. What is going on? I'm super excited to have this conversation with you guys this week. I'm already going to start and just jump into it. It's about Huda. It's about Love Island. This intro, we're talking about pop culture, and I'm one of those people that took a long time to really lock in on Love Island USA just because I didn't get it. And I think this is before Peacock too, to be honest. But last year was the year where I got to really kind of like see it on TikTok and get introduced to PPG. And what's that man's name? Trey Songz's little side lover. I forgot his name. The football player, his brother was on there too. So I got a little bit hooked to it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is cute. I get it. All right. But I wasn't really fully involved. I never watched a full episode until recently, like literally last week. And part of me is like, I wish I never did, because apparently this season is just like a hot ass mess from the people that they put on there and the social media and everything that's been happening. Like right now, I think Sierra is gone, and that's like the third person or maybe the second person, I don't know, that has said something in relation to being racist and a slur. And I'm just like, okay, it's too much going on. So basically what got me hooked was Jeremiah and Huda, and then Ace. Ace was known for TikTok and being on there dancing with people from different backgrounds, people who have disability, just trying to put a smile on people's face. And I was like, I know who Ace is. Cool. That's super cool. And then you have Jeremiah and Huda. So from the videos that I saw, Jeremiah and Huda had coupled up, and that's the whole premise. You want to find your love, but then if you don't really couple up, you still have time to explore with everybody else and just kissing and being weird and nasty with everybody else. That's really what it is. And you have these challenges and stuff like that that are kind of like, you know, a little risque, you know. It's on Peacock now. Apparently being on Peacock, it's a lot more risque compared to being on whatever platform they were before. It was a lot of censorship, but now being on a streaming service, they're able to do more. So it's a lot's going on with these challenges. And Huda and Jeremiah, from what I saw from TikTok, it was always toxic. When I tell you, this girl was very verbally abusing this man, making a toxic environment, hostile environment for everybody else. No girl could do anything with Jeremiah, or she would get upset. Like, she called Iris a bitch. She called a whole bunch of other girls certain things. Then she flicked off another girl during a challenge, having an anxiety attack. She's like, what's mine is mine. She would sit up there in line and say, oh yeah, Jeremiah said he could see us living together. Come to find out it was her who said it. So she was just weird in general and gives very much pick me energy. And I can tell she ain't got no friends, I'll tell you that much. And it gives male-centered in a lot of things that she does and stuff like that. Well, Jeremiah had locked in with Iris, and that's when Huda was like left alone. It was like, well, Jeremiah told me that he doesn't even find Iris attractive. He would never sleep with her. And she's spilling all the beans. And Jeremiah just trying to get away from Huda because it's toxic. And then she made his time horrible at Love Island, right? In the villa. So Huda then, I don't know what happened so Huda's just doing her own thing, being weird with everybody in the house and has nobody to couple up with. And Jeremiah ends up getting voted off because a new girl, Adrena, came in. Bad body built girl. She cute. She fine. Period. 10 out of 10. And Adrena and Jeremiah kind of like vibed with each other. And the guys felt a certain type of way. Ace, I feel like, is the main one who's being a hater with his little short ass. Don't trust no light-skinned short man under 5'10". No, my bad. 5'7". He's 5'6". So you already know he's just a ball of trouble. Someone said he looks like a Teddy Graham character, and I can't get that out of my head. So that's the whole thing. Jeremiah gets voted off, and Huda doesn't have anybody. So we fast forward, and the big thing that like made everything explode on social media where people chose sides were the heart rate challenge. That's where each couple gets to go and do this like little like sexual things to get people's heart rates up, and whoever gets the heart rates up the most couple wise, for people, they win, right? So the scene that happens is Huda is with Chris and Shelly. I don't know what happened, but they had connected in the, what is it called? Casa Amor, and Shelly kind of liked him. So Shelly and Ace are together. Shelly and Ace could have been together before, but Ace wanted to choose and explore the people while Shelly was like, babes, I'm here, connect with me. They end up getting connected, and Shelly's like, I still want to explore, runs into Chris at Casa Amor. They come back, they do the heart rate challenge. So Chris has Shelly, Ace has Huda. Ace and Huda really didn't have too much of a connection, but there were certain parts where like Huda was kind of like, yeah, I would kiss you, blah, 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 in the beginning, but it was never like a big deal. So they're doing the heart rate challenge, and they're like tonguing each other down. Like Huda's like tonguing Ace down. Shelly's getting tongued down by Chris, but Ace is aware of her wanting to explore with Chris, so that's nothing new. the situation is, if you look back at the past episodes, Huda and Jeremiah and the challenges, Huda would get upset. Don't touch her man. Don't do nothing with her man, period. So we see what we see, but production cuts a certain part of the heart rate challenge. But all I remember is seeing Huda go from cowgirl to reverse cowgirl. And there's some allegations, allegedly, that Huda is a stripper. Those moves that she was doing, baby girl is definitely a stripper. I don't care what no one says. So she does the reverse cowgirl thing, and it cuts. And it goes to everybody's faces on the couch looking shook. They're like, wow, that was a lot. And Shelly gets up upset. Even Chris's face is kind of like shocked a little bit. And Huda's like, what's wrong? I don't know. And Ace, he just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I'm just smiling and happy. And Shelly looks at him as like, is your heart racing? Is other things racing? And I'm thinking, oh, Huda must have done a little something because the booty was in his face. So I just want to know what happened. But I think something did get raised. I ain't gonna hold you. Something got a little bit stiff up there. I think that's what happened. And it made everybody uncomfortable. And Huda knew that. And Huda was like right, I guess Ace was right between Huda and Shelly. And Huda and Shelly are supposed to be girls. Like, they confide in each other. I love you, girl. I love you, sis. That type shit, right? So Huda touches Shelly, and Shelly's like, not right now, girl. So we end the whole challenge. Everybody's going away, doing their thing in the villa, and Huda wants to go talk to Shelly. No, they don't talk yet. So Shelly is with her girls, and she was like, am I tripping, or was that too much? And like, she couldn't even finish it, and everybody else around her was like, yeah, you're not tripping. That was way too much. So everybody knew. Even the guy said that was going overboard. So everybody in the villa knew, and Huda couldn't read the room. So Huda's talking to the girl. She's like, Shelly doesn't want to talk to me. Mind you, Shelly just said, not right now, girl. You're still doing the challenge. They're finishing up. So Shelly didn't say I didn't want to talk to you. So she goes and tries to pull Shelly away. And Shelly's like, okay, we can talk. And Shelly is obviously emotionally mature and is like, hey, I don't want to have a conversation right now because I may say something and I don't want to say anything purely based off of the way that I feel right now. She's upset. Of course she's upset. And if you value someone's friendship and you want to have a mature response, it is okay to say no in that moment because you want to regulate your emotions. I'm one of those people, I'm learning that. I can't just go off the hinges and cuss people out because if I truly value someone, I could be upset with them, but I want to make sure this conversation is genuine and feelings don't get hurt and I'm not saying it in the heat of a moment. So that's what Shelly said. This girl Huda with her toxic ass self goes to Alondria, which Shelly, Huda, and Alondria were cool, like they're friends. So she goes up to Alondria, and Alondria's another black girl, and Huda just starts to cry. Huda is one of those very much caring girls. They need the people around them to cry. She needs to be the victim, like woe is me type shit. And she asked Alondria, she's like, did I do too much? And Alondria's like, yeah, girl, you did too much. It was done. So that is the whole reason why I got hooked on, because then after that, we're seeing a divide on Love Island fan base on social media where you've got all these Huda rats, that's what they call them, coming out of the woodworks being anti-black and racist towards Shelly and Alondria. So look, if you don't know anything about the Love Island USA and the franchise in general, they are known for being anti-black and colorist on their show. And this, I feel like, is like the second season from America, what I know, where we have a lot of black dark-skinned women. I don't even mean a lot. I mean like 3 or 4 that got on there, right? But we do see more black women on this show, and then some across the diaspora who are black. So we are seeing a little bit different, and it's showing up in the fan base how ignorant and anti-black they are, because I then was saying my little spiel, commenting, doing my little TikTok thing, reviewing the show. And I'm getting comments from people who are white Latina women and white women. And there is an age bracket where I'm seeing some similarities. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing like 20-year-olds, 14-year-olds, young ass girls, right? Frontal lobe isn't developed. And some older grown ass women. I'm like, you're a weirdo. So I said what I said. And I said, yeah, Huda gives very much, was an ugly duckling growing up, got her face changed, got the work done to feel more secure with herself, because at the end of the day, you don't like something on your face, you're going to feel some type of insecurity, you want to feel confident, go get it changed. That's what it is. I don't know why people are so upset in arms when I say that, but that's the truth. You want to feel confident, change what you can. It's 2025. You have that option and availability. Stop being weird and saying, no, I loved myself before. No, you didn't. You didn't like it. Just be truthful. You changed it and you think you look good now, even if it is a copy and paste face that everybody else has. So Huda did that, has a BBL, has 0 friends on her social media. I'm clocking it. She's not a good friend. She's male-centered, very immature, very toxic. And I get these comments from young children. I'm like, first of all, you're 14 years old and 12 years old trying to shade me. Does your parents know you're online? I delete those and block those. And then I get a message from a girl named Ashley. It's so long, you guys, that I have to take the message because I can't open it because TikTok is still processing the full comment. I have to go and copy it, paste it in my notes, and it takes up the full screen of my notes. And I'm reading it and I post it. I'm like, hey, look, you guys are young. Your obviously frontal lobe isn't fully healed. You're immature. This is not a healthy relationship. This woman should not be the be all of a good relationship just because she is physically attractive and you guys want to look like her when it comes to looks, but are not looking at how she's acting. Again, I'm 32. These people are like 20 something years old. When I tell y'all, I'm so thankful that I got bullied before social media, because if I didn't, this shit would probably, I get why younger kids are going through what they're going through. I got called Peaches. If you don't know who Peaches is, like, child, you can go Google her. But I'm getting like pictures from this lady who is now upset because she made 3 comments under my page of that little comment section that the lady put. And she was like, you guys are just being haters. You don't understand Huda. And I'm like, girl, you must see yourself in Huda. Hashtag goofy. And that prompted her to post the whole "you're Peaches" and gets in her anti-black bag. And I'm like, are you guys really serious right now? It got so bad that this Latina girl decided to go to one of my comments, go to my comment section, one of my videos I just posted that day, talking about I don't like being gaslit. If you're gonna gaslight me, we need to get physical. She said, so let's get physical. Oh, hey, you trying to get physical over Love Island? You trying to get physical over social media? You trying to get physical over a TV show that your ass could never get on? Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Please don't. So I'm just like, girl, I screenshot that and comment. I'm like, you guys are delusional. Parasocial relationships. Bitch, this ain't real life, hoe. And you want to threaten me over some make-believe social experiment, Love Island? Don't catch me in Michigan. And here's the thing. I'll tell y'all shade. I've been online on social media for a long time. It ain't that hard to find out where you at, where you be, who's your people. So she's still commenting and calling me all types of big, black, nasty. And I'm like, okay, look, don't play with me. I found her whole Instagram, her burner account, and where she goes and works for the side, her and her friends. Okay. And I made sure to post that. And I said, Ashley, Jasmine, stop playing with me. This ain't real life. You try and get physical. I'm over here in Atlanta, 6'1.5", big as hell, and you from Michigan, barely legal, posting illegal shit on your page. You ain't even 21, and then you crying about being a legal immigrant. You got bigger shit to worry about, all to y'all shay. So this whole situation with the Huda Rats is wild, because I come to find out I'm not the only content creator who's a black woman getting harassed by Huda's fan base, which are predominantly white and Latina women. Then we have some black women in here being ignorant, being like, you guys are tripping. No, you're the weirdo. And I'm noticing a pattern with these women who are like, even Kaylani's weird cuckoo ass. I already knew that bitch was weird when she started dating YG and then starts dating lesbians that only look like her. You're a weirdo, period. Like, all these girls are coming out and I'm like, I know who you are. You're a male-centered, insecure weirdo. Even if you get all the work done in the world, you still are not secure with yourself because, one, you have some weird shit going on, and I that's why you ain't got no friends, right? So that's what's happening with the whole Love Island situation. So fast forward over the weekend, we find a video of Huda mouthing the N-word, and everybody's like, well, damn, are we surprised? No, we're not surprised. I know who Huda is. All tea, all shade. She is a woman of color, and this happens in white women too, where you get with a black man, and because you've had a black man inside you and you had a mixed baby, you feel like you can be part of the black culture. You feel like you can say the N-word, like that is your past, right? Mind you, when she's on the show, she's got a black accent, which is so weird. And then her baby daddy allegedly is a Trump supporter. So that's all that I'm seeing. That's enough. That's enough. And a lot of these people who are part of the fan base, I'm looking at their pages, white women who only post about their dog, but all of a sudden you want to talk ignorantly against Shelly and Alondria, who are dark-skinned black women. And that's the whole issue I have with Love Island, is they do not protect the black women in these it's a social experiment, I keep calling it, in these spaces, and it's something that's not new, because what's happening is the producers are now changing the narrative to make it seem like Huda, after how many episodes, has been the villain, because that's who she is now trying to make it seem like Huda's not the problem. Huda's the victim. Be nice to her. And now change the perspective to make it seem like the dark-skinned women are the problem. They're the bullies. And America is literally being racist and ignorant and colorist towards them. And that's the problem I have with it. And that's why I'm not watching that shit on Peacock. I'm going to watch it on TikTok. You're not getting my views. You may get my conversation and my words from it, my reviews, but you're not getting my views purely straight from Peacock. I'll watch bits and pieces. Hell, I'll go on YouTube. But that is Love Island at its whole. I know Sierra is potentially, allegedly, kicked off because she said the C word in relations to Asian people. And I'm not surprised that they're going to take her off, because one of the girls in the beginning, as soon as it started, she got called out being a Cuban saying the N word and a Trump supporter. And they're like, yeah, no, this isn't good for our brand. So I'm excited, though, to see Amaya. I want her to go very far. I think she's an amazing young lady. She was just a little bit misunderstood with the way that she communicates with people. And there's nothing wrong with saying babe. If someone doesn't like it, don't say it. But then again, you're a weirdo, because it's not that big of a deal. It's Love Island. And I think Amaya's really has a genuine heart. She wants to find love. And I'm excited for her. Hopefully she finds it. I think it's Pepe. Or is it someone else? Chris. No, it's not Chris. I don't know who it is, but he's cute. He's got a little curly top. And he was the one who was like, you guys don't understand, from our culture, that's what we just call each other babe, love. That's just how it is. It's a term of endearment. And yeah, got hooked on Love Island, watched 2 episodes and stopped because shit, they anti-black and racist. And anyways, a lot of people are watching it. I'm excited to see who wins. Do you guys watch it? Let me know. I know a few of my friends do. I know Christy, she's waiting till everything ends, so I gotta let her know not to listen to the very first 20 minutes of this podcast, so I don't ruin anything for her. But yeah, Love Island, this is crazy. So I'm afraid the very first 23 minutes of this episode, I was wondering why the levels were crazy. Who is not recorded on the microphone? But anyways, that is the Love Island recap of how I feel. But I really truly feel like Alondria and Shelly will definitely come up out top once they are out the villa. And the Huda conversation really just makes me rethink of a lot of things that are happening within our society when it comes to social media and the young generation who are consuming so much social media at such a young age, and have changed the perspective of what it means to be a 10-year-old, to be a 12-year-old, to be a 16-year-old. And so much mature content is being pushed into them because of TikTok, because of Instagram, because of, I don't even think the young kids use Facebook, but they have so many options to see and consume media at such a young age. It does change their mindset and their perspective of what a relationship is. And I don't think Love Island is the perfect example of what a healthy relationship is. Which brings me to the conversation I had on TikTok, and a lot of Black women were not a fan of it, but I do not like the red pill content adjacent that comes from Black women when it comes to Black women and Black men relationships across the diaspora as a whole. I don't like how we're constantly fighting against each other. And there's a lot of Black women like She7. There's this other woman, I can't remember her name, and there's another one on TikTok. All of them talk about basically how Black men do not step up to the standards of those who are not Black when it comes to dating, and specifically dating Black women. And a lot of their narratives is, you should date someone who isn't Black. Stop dating Black men because they don't make enough money. They're not educated. They're not going to treat you the right way. And I'm one of the women who, as a plus size Black woman, I have myself experienced different types of relationships from those who were not fully comfortable being with me in public because I am a bigger woman, because I am taller, and not getting the love that I see my other people who are smaller than me, who are the beauty standard and stuff like that. And it never made me not want to deal with Black men. It just told me there's some Black men who just aren't shit. Do I feel like calling our community out on some of the shit that they do? Yes. You can always hold people accountable, but it never turned me away from Black men. I'm sorry, because maybe that's also the privilege I have of being educated of what our community went through as Black African Americans because of slavery and what they did to us white people in general during slavery, and I don't feel comfortable being with a white person because I think of that. Do I believe in people being in interracial relationships purely based off of love? Yes, 1,000%. I would not be here if that did not happen. But because of social media and because of standards and money and stuff like that, people are now telling black women to not deal with black men because they want a soft life, and you're not going to get that with a black man. I think that's crazy. To me, that's crazy. I ain't never seen the black men in my family not give the women that they deserve a soft life. They may not be financially where they need to be at a certain time period, but they always end up there. And I want people to take in a perspective of what we have into society, in today's society, of the roadblocks that we have, and how, yes, you may not see that money coming fast because you are black. And that's a fact. And a lot of people don't want to have that conversation about racism does play into a lot of things. And even in relationships of, yes, black women do make more money than black men, are probably some of the most highly educated compared to black men. And that's not saying black men aren't educated, but we also have to know, like, when black men, depending on what I won't say department, child, what job and career field they're in, they are going to do the stereotypical, let's go be with a white woman or a non-black woman because I want to grow in my job. I want to be in corporate America, and they're not going to accept me if they see me as blackity black Jerome, even though your name is like Michael or some shit like that, right? And that's what they play into that narrative. They want to grow within corporate America. And that also shows up in a lot of POC's worlds too. I feel like in the Asian community, you don't see it as much because, they're white adjacent. They're a little bit more accepted. But some of them, if they really want to play the game, will go and date white women and procreate with white women, only white women, because they want to grow in corporate America, because they want to make more money in corporate America. And that's just the thing. And I think that standard and that ideology is very played out. If you change that narrative, you can. But I feel like a lot of people don't want to. So here we are. So I made the comment about how I'm never going to fall for the propaganda of not liking black men and thinking that black men can provide a soft life for me, when I truly believe that is something that can happen. And I see it in real time. Like, I'm living that. And I'm also realistic because my relationship is not a social media relationship. A lot of people talk about what you should see, but don't talk about what's really happening in the real world, because your life, you're not making six figures like these content creators who are feeding this bullshit to you and making money off the comments and the women that are desperate to be in a relationship. They're living something totally different than you. But they're trying to play into this whole desperate black woman who wants to be in a relationship and they don't like black men because of their beauty features, because of whatever society told them. They're making money off of you. So they're going to continue to push this negative narrative that you will never be able to be with a black man because they can't provide for you. But in reality, you're not choosing the black man that needs you, that you should want. And I'm about to say something really mean. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to say it. You are dating above your level. When it comes to physical, when it comes to mental, when it comes to money wise. A lot of black women in these comment section of these black women who are saying, they're pushing this red pill adjacent shit and saying don't date black men, date white men. First of all, you're not even fully attractive to the white man standards. So what makes you think you're going to pull a white man with money that's going to give you a soft life? I don't care how hard your wig is. He still ain't going to choose you, girl. You may think he will, but he ain't going to choose you. And this narrative that white men are better and men of color outside of black men are better, the issue I have with these women who push that propaganda is no one talks about how controlling these men are. You got a white man with money and you're attractive, you fit the beauty standard, and most of those women have to be skinny black women, okay? You have your skinny black women, your skinny dark-skinned women that are going to pull that white man with money, hard wig, soft life. They don't talk about the controlling aspect of that you're still getting an ain't shit man that's not a black man. No one wants to talk about that. Y'all think you're just going to get all these bags and stuff from these white men. Yeah, you may get that. He's still a cheater. He's abusive. He's an alcoholic. He's a druggie. He's spending your money on things that shouldn't be spent on. You're still going to get that because he's a man. A man that was not taught properly how to be a man. I don't know why you think that just happens in the black community. That's all over. Okay? They don't want to talk about that. They just talk about get you a white man that's going to get you some money. You may have that lifestyle. You may have all that money. But are you happy? No. Because that's another thing. People who don't grow up in white communities, y'all don't get to hear the stories that white women talk about. They may have every luxury brand item, but that comes with a cost, and that is their life. Their whole life is the whole price they pay to live this lifestyle that people want. The Keeping Up with the Joneses is a perfect example. Okay, so I'm not falling for the propaganda to have this combative relationship with black men, thinking that black men can't succeed. I wholeheartedly believe black men across the diaspora can succeed. Do I think there's a lot of bullshit across the diaspora? Yes. Do I think a lot of ancient black men? Yes. Do I believe I may run into them? Yes. But that doesn't change the relationship I want to have with a black man that I feel like needs to we need to rebuild that whole conversation. That's just the fact. I know a lot of educated black men who aren't going to stand for your bullshit. That's the thing. They don't got time for the lack of accountability. They don't got time for that. And a lot of them do want to date black women. They want to date black women across the diaspora. And that's a fact. And they're going to wait to find that woman. And they're not coming with the bullshit games. And a lot of them actually in the house, y'all. Let me take a little break from the seriousness. A lot of these men, I'm thinking about my homeboys, a lot of them don't be outside as much. And when they do be outside, you got to come correct. Okay, because they outside and they most likely probably spending that money, but you probably on some weird shit. You know what? We'll have another conversation about that. But there are black men out there that definitely want to be in relationships with black women who are educated, who make the money and stuff like that. A lot of them are locked in right now and are just trying to succeed and gain more experience and gain more money. So you may not see them outside as much. But that's neither here nor there. So that propaganda I'm not falling for. And I feel bad because there is a specific type of look that I see these women who got upset with me. They look dusty. They look crusty. They look like they don't put a lot of effort into it. And they end up getting with these white men who are just as abusive, just as broke. And they never want to have the conversation about how they settled. And I guess there's one lady, I think her name is Cecilia, and she's been on YouTube. And there's all these black women are like, well, the issue is because there's only copy and paste. It's not a long platform like YouTube where you can have the conversation, and Cecilia just comes on here and have little bits of conversation. I'm like, that woman. There's another thing which I feel like is a double standard in these conversations is when men who are red pill content creators produce this content, a lot of women love to say, you guys are acting like you like men, you're gay. That's it, right? You may like men. And that, you know what, sometimes that's true. Sometimes that's true. A lot of them are just uneducated, never been taught that this shit is wrong, right? But if you're doing the same type of rhetoric and content from another platform as a woman, it's red pill adjacent. Some of it's red pill, specifically in the black woman community and black community. Babes, you may like women. You just might be gay. If you can't get along with men, I wholeheartedly challenge people to explore when it comes to their sexuality, because just because society has told you to be with a man, if you don't like them and they pissing you off and you've dated multiple men across different races, you may be gay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Go try a woman. I bet you'll be a little bit more happier. They like to move just as fast as you want to move, okay? You like them. They got the U-Haul ready to go, moving across the country for you. And that's what I feel like a lot of women, unfortunately, have been told, that you cannot date anyone who is the same sex as you. And I feel like a lot of women are missing out on happiness and being in a healthy relationship because you may be gay, or you may be poly, or you may be, what is it? You like everybody? You don't care? That may be you. And I challenge y'all to explore that, because hey, if you ain't really hey, I love men. I love black men. I love black men and Jeff Goldblum. Okay. Let me tell you something. Men. I don't know what it is. I like men. I like what I like. Sometimes short, sometimes, as people tell me, they are bi, K Tronada. I find them attractive, didn't know, and are gay. And I like what I like, okay? And some people just don't feel the same as me. And I feel like if that doesn't get you riled up or something, you may like women. You just need to find what you like. So that type of propaganda on social media, I'm not falling for. A lot of women who get upset at me, I don't know what to tell you. I know what to tell you. I just told you. I told you what I told you. So you guys know I wasn't going to come on here into my podcast and not talk about politics and how it's affecting our society. And right now, right? Big, beautiful bill. That bullshit has passed. And you know what? the thing that I struggle the most with is like being at work when all these like life-changing shit is happening in our government, and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Let me go ahead and send that email out real quick. Oh my god, I can't believe this shit about to pass. Oh, actually, I need to respond to this person real quick and get this updated. Like, I'm trying to find that middle ground and balance of the fact that shit is happening that is going to affect us, but also I need to make a plan to get the fuck out of here. 2027 is when this bill is going to take into place, but you already know the Republicans, who are just fueled with power and just freaking weird, are going to try and use this in the moment right now. And I think over in Florida with the election for the mayor, they just put that in pause. It was like, no, whoever's in place right now is going to be there. We'll figure it out later. And that's the bullshit we cannot have. And it infuriates me because I grew up as an American, a Black American, and no one's more patriotic than a Black American. We love our culture and who we are, but we cannot stand the bullshit that comes with being American. And it's the systemic racism, the racism across the board, and the white supremacy rhetoric. And I'm not even going to hold you. The way that AIPAC is moving, they're also a problem. We have these white passing Jewish Americans who are not Hasidic Jews, who are leaning into white supremacy rhetoric to benefit themselves as well. That is a problem we're having in capitalism. That's it. Those are the major issues of why America is the way that it is now. And we're seeing it in the big, beautiful bill. And the issue I'm having with it is you have Republicans who have this space, who are senators, who are supposed to make the decision for their people, for these states. And they themselves cannot even stay to listen to the whole bill be read because it's too late. There were even some Democrats that were like, hey, I'd rather be at the beach. Bitch! You're not going to be voted as a senator next year. I hope you know that. And this is what I want to tell people, and I cannot stress this enough. I myself am trying to figure out how to get in there. How am I going to get on the council? Because babes, we're at this point where I'm seeing respectability politics go out the window when we have this man and multiple people who are on the Republican side and Democratic side who are not doing what we need to do for the people. How can we as a young generation get in there? Which leads me to Zoran, and hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. He is the mayor that they're going to have in New York City, because Eric Adams is not doing his job. Eric Adams, hey, I want to cuss so bad. Eric Adams, you son of a mother gunner, son bun. Damn, I want to call him so many names. The way that he acts, I'm like, you think this is acceptable? And don't get me started on the amount of Black people across the diaspora. I need the Caribbeans to the front right now to hold your people accountable and the Africans accountable in New York City. You know, it's a melting pot. I saw the interview with Don Lemon was a bunch of y'all Black Caribbeans and Africans down there to vote for his dumb, stupid ass Eric Adams because he's Black and he holds up the Christian values. Shut the hell up. Just because someone is Black and aligns with the bullshit Democrat bullshit that you guys think is acceptable, and we've been told as a Black community that this is going to help us, it's not going to help us. Y'all don't realize in our community, there's so many I can't believe I'm saying this. There's so much xenophobic anything outside of Black people that you think that voting for a Black person is the only way to get out of the shit that we're in. In reality, Eric Adams is the perfect example to showcase that is not true. In Denver, Colorado, there's multiple Black mayors. Hey, Mayor Hancock, once he got back in there multiple times and his son acted like some crappy white boy, I knew we were losing the conversation. I knew they weren't here for the people. When he went to go to the Super Bowl and try to showcase Denver as a place for people to move, I knew he was selling us out. Just because they're Black doesn't mean that they're for the community. And I need people to realize that. So now we have Zoran who's like, hey, this is what I want to change. And everybody's upset because he's not Black. He's not white. He's a perfect example of what New York is. But I understand that there's a lot of people who are coming down there who are gentrifying that whole state. Don't realize what New York was and always has been is the melting pot for different cultures and different communities. And that's what New York has always been. I don't know what New York y'all know, but that's the New York I know. He has a Punjabi background and a Muslim background. That screams, I'm from New York. Like, have you not been to New York prior to these gentrifiers from Ohio? So this is what Zoran wants to do. And hopefully I'm saying his name right. Housing and tenant rights. That is something that he's been talking about. Transportation, childcare and education, city-owned grocery stores, economics and taxes, public safety and community health, LGBTQ plus rights and trans care. This man, who is a perfect example of what New New York is, the city of New York, the melting pot of New York, and what has came out of New York of being there, is wanting to do things for New York and for New Yorkers to, it's not even a word. He wants to better New York. He wants a better way of life. Because here's the thing. We've lost the plot when it comes to our government officials. And it is now time to take back what should be rightfully controlled by the people who make these states, these cities possible. And Zoran is like, hey, I want to give back to the people that made me the man that I am now. I want to give back to the people so I can continue to see our city grow. You need government officials who love their city in these positions. And I will continue to stress this on every single episode. If you see something in your city, in your community that you want to change, go run for your city council. Go figure it out. ChatGPT, if you want to use ChatGPT, that's what you use it for. You don't use it to make pictures and ask stupid ass questions and make you videos. You're burning up people's water and homes and shit for this. Use ChatGPT to better yourself and better the community and push for a better way of life for the future generation. We have that in the palm of our hands, and I hope Zoran makes it to be able to change these things. But unfortunately, Eric Adams plays the biggest card out there, and this is why I brought up the Jewish community who is not Hasidic, because this is my thing about this. I'm noticing a pattern, and maybe I'm a crazy, and I've talked about this before. There's a large amount of white passing Jewish people who are able to be privileged off of the fact that they use that they're Jewish, but they do not usually adhere to the religion like those who are Hasidic. Hasidic Jews are not a fan of what's happening in Israel. They're not a fan of none of this shit. And they've called out their Jewish community because, let's talk about it. Jewish people from New York who are able to come back, who do not adhere to the religion, do not do anything outside of having a bar mitzvah and making money and saying that they're Jewish, they have showcased that they are evil, showcasing that they support Israel, showcasing, babes, they're using the white privilege that they have, and a lot of people don't question them, and they will use that hey, I'm a Jewish person, but in reality, you're giving very much white supremacist rhetoric, and they are able to control so much, along with those who are white supremacists in the media, who are changing things. And because AIPAC has a hand in with Eric Adams is like, oh yeah, Zoran is anti-Semitic, he's pushing that. I'm tired of that narrative. I'm tired of that bullshit. Because if anti-Semitic and anti-Semitism was so big, do you really think so many Jewish people were able to have so much control of, and you guys aren't going to like this, you're going to call it anti-Semitic, but when you research it, because I was one of those people who got caught out, the media, what the propaganda is being pushed. We're looking at it right now over there in Palestine, where Trump, the American government, and Israel are giving flour and needs to the Palestinian people, and there are literal pills in there. We cannot hide from the fact that all of this shit is happening right in front of us because the social media has showcased it to us, and we cannot hide it. They are the problem and will always continue to be the problem if we don't do anything about it. I'm so sorry. Every time I talk about this, I think my parents would tell me don't talk about this, but I cannot be quiet. So Eric Adams leans into that AIPAC bubble. And if you haven't taken the time out, I implore you guys to research how much money the Jewish community here in America has received from government officials. If you even look in New York, they receive so many millions of dollars compared to those in the Latino community and the Black community. And I think that's a problem because they've been able to benefit and profit from so many things and reparations, and it needs to stop. It is now time for this to go back into the people who have been making this country a better place, who are the ones who are the hard workers, the ones who are having to sacrifice so much. And then we're getting to the immigrants. Let's talk about it. Florida has lost their ever-loving, lasting motherfucking mind with the bullshit that they're doing. That is a concentration camp. You want to call it alligator, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's a concentration camp. Period. It's getting to the point that Trump's senile, stupid ass is saying that even the Black people who are not good people need to get deported. Okay, bitch, go start with all the dumbass white people. Let's go start there. Let's really start there. You cannot be illegal on stolen land, and that is a fact. This land is stolen. If you really want to talk about the only people that can ever say anything about this land is the Native Americans, but you guys did what you did because you're horrific colonizers and killed them off to where they don't even have a platform to utilize and actually speak for themselves because there's so many that are gone. Okay? So you want to talk about, the immigrations and this and that. No one owns this land because we are not even supposed to be here. So now you have the whole little concentration camps, which pisses me off because it's like, when I found out that people who are not legal by the United States of America's way of legalization is still paying taxes, you're the dumbest motherfuckers ever to go and get these people out, when in reality the millionaires, the billionaires, they're not paying the fucking taxes. They're never going to pay the taxes. Do you know how many bills passed that these dumbasses did not want to go through, because that means the billionaires would be the ones to be taxed? But as soon as the small non-making motherfuckers were able to make some type of money, y'all want to tax us? Oh, that bill gets passed? Please be so for real right now. The math ain't math, and that's the dumbest ass shit ever, because the billionaires and the millionaires, you gonna make that money back tenfold by the time we in the second quarter. And this is why I say eat the rich. This is why I say that. And I mean everybody. I don't care if you black, brown, green, whatever. You're all getting eaten. Get out my face. But with 50 Cent saying we have to get Zohran Mandami out of New York City, I'm not feeling this. It's like, 50 Cent, what have you done for us? What have you done for New York City? You sit online and you troll at your big, fat, swole ass age. And there's other things to worry about, how you're dealing with Cuban link, and the only thing you should get out of you is a wig, but you're Mr. Have a baby by me, baby, be a millionaire. You're ignorant, you're disgusting, and the only thing you have going for you is power. So I truly believe Zohran is a perfect example of how we have to change our communities, and a lot of these people just got to get out of here, and we're going to see the change. Unfortunately, the big beautiful bill did pass. It will be in effect by 2027. You know, all the illiterate, uneducated Republicans and the Democrats who don't care are not going to do anything about it, and the Republicans are going to try and say, well, the bill passed, so it can work now. Let's push it into effect right now. And at the end of the day, this man is not going to stay alive for his full term. I don't know what you guys think this is, but it's not going to happen. And I don't know about y'all, but it's not a privilege that I have right now to go up and leave out of America. But the plan is definitely in effect right now. I do not want to be here at this moment. If I can leave, because that is a privilege. If I can't, it's time to make a change. It's time to actually go and do things that a lot of people who are money hungry, because at the end of the day, what's happening right now is capitalism is it's rich and poor. That's the conversation, rich and poor. That's it. And if we can't get these billionaires and millionaires to pay the taxes that they need to pay here in America, I don't know where you're going to go, but you're going to get the hell out of here. That should be the rules and regulations. Like, it's so embarrassing to see different countries right now do things that America swears we're the big land of the great, and America is so smart. We're actually really stupid. Okay, who does little hooter rats showcase that, how ignorant and uneducated a lot of the young generation is, and especially all these older generations. George W. Bush, children were left behind, okay? And for us to only focus on education when it comes to statistics and passing it because of us, the little whatever the hell it is. I've been out of, obviously, high school for a while. I don't think we're really setting our future generation up for success. It's multiple failures across the board, and it's embarrassing. And I realized that America was stupid in college when we had high school, when we had a foreign exchange student from Italy, and he knew all the answers for U.S. history before we did. And that told me right then and there, we're not being educated on how we should be, and every other country is above us. They're ahead of us. And unfortunately, don't be surprised if America has China influences moving forward, because they are skyrocketing. They've been here for how many thousands of years? America's only been here for a few hundred, and they're obviously doing something right. This isn't Chinese propaganda, but if you explore the world and you go out of America, you understand how uneducated and how behind we are when it compares to everybody else across this world. And our government officials, because of capitalism, are setting us back 1,000%. So you guys knew I was going to talk about this. Simone's crusty, dusty ass got onto social media to talk about, or like on her podcast with her, and I think I forgot the lady's name, but she here's the thing, a lot of people don't know that her friend is a Shekinah or something like that. I don't know. Her friend went viral for a lot of reasons, because she was on social media prior to Simone being popular, and she would love to talk about the relationship she would be in with a man, and talked about the sperm and how it helped with her skin and everything like that. I remember her from that, and a lot of little stories and tidbits about relationship and stuff like that. That was the niche that she had. So she's having this conversation with B. Simone and saying how she was going through it, had to get food stamp and stuff, and all B. Simone could say was Jesus. So in that little snippet we had from her podcast, B. Simone's, we were assuming that was a different total friend versus B. Simone, but as you watch the full thing, it's like, oh, you're the friend that was being a philanthropist and giving out stuff to other people while your friend was struggling. And the friend's like coming up with this reason, like, yeah, I know you're not supposed to have to help me, it's not your responsibility, but I'm like, it comes to a certain point in time, if that is your friend and you really cherish that relationship, you're going to help them out. You're going to know what's going on in their life to where you want to help them out. Even if they're not speaking about it, you notice the patterns and how they change and how they're trying to do different things and stuff like that. And it's like, you can't be oblivious to it unless you're that self-centered. And I wholeheartedly believe that B. Simone is that self-centered. But it doesn't surprise me because B. Simone has always been a cringy content creator when she used to cosplay as Aaliyah for years. That's how I knew about her. She would cosplay, and then she was friends with that other dude who created Zeus Networks and stuff like that. Very coonish type behavior with B. Simone. And she gave very pick me when she'd be like, baby boy, baby, hey, that was her niche. She always has some little niche to get her to where she needs to be. And the biggest one where I was like, y'all are really letting this slide by was when she stole somebody else's idea and content for a planner, and that was her whole thing about, yeah, I made it as a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, y'all aren't, but I am. And it's like, girl, please, you did that by stealing and not really fully building that yourself, right? So now we have this podcast, and I knew B. Simone was a weirdo when you wore booty shorts and a blazer to church, and you're rebranding on this Christianity brand, and that's where you're going to basically scam people, because I've noticed a lot of people on social media, if you can't sell sex anymore because you're getting older, Brittany Reiner and all these people, you go into religion and you play that part and say, yeah, I'm a Muslim now, oh, I'm part of Christianity, let's talk about God, because you know you can make money off of that. And that's a fact. Look at these mega church Christians and all these pastors. They make money off of it. That's what B. Simone is doing. I don't think that's right. As a Christian myself, I think that's very condescending. I think it's ignorant to use a religion to make money and profit. God did not tell you to do that. not my God, So I'm watching this interview, and then it gets to my favorite line. My finances. I had to go shop at H&M. I thought that was so ironic that you hear your friend talking about the struggle she went through. Struggles, welfare, freaking food stamps, and you circle back with, I couldn't shop in Bloomingdale's, so I had to go to H&M. It's always given rainbow with no sense of style, because you go to Rainbow and get a sense of style, you got a cute fit. I am a perfect example. But B. Simone has always been cringy, corny, basic, weird, just weirdo vibes. And seeing that relationship and how she responded to her friend, there are a lot of women like that out here. It is struggles for me. I don't even think I struggle making women relationships. I'm very hesitant because here's the thing. The women in my life that I'm friends with now are not insecure. I've never had to deal with insecure women. And probably when I was younger, I wasn't really in tune with it because I feel like we were all just centered around men and getting a man. And as you grow, it kind of changes your perspective of everything. But I do not deal with women who are all about centering themselves around men are insecure. And B. Simone gives very insecure. She gives insecure because in that interview, she also talked about how she felt a certain type of way about her friend who was struggling. The one she could say was Jesus. The one who was struggling got a brand deal and was now back on her feet, and now B. Simone felt a certain type of way. Like, bitch, you couldn't even help out your friend and knew she was struggling, and you're giving away cars and she ain't got shit for her kids. You want to be a philanthropist, bitch, help your friend out. You try and look for a tax write-off, you could have figured something out with your homegirl. If you know how to steal people's products to become a millionaire, you know how to do some scammy ass shit to where you could have figured that out. Okay, so miss me with the excuses. Those type of women are everywhere. And when I want to have a conversation about that, I think about my experiences with these past women, and I refuse to be in rooms, to be anywhere near an insecure woman, because I have spent years trying to build my confidence, and it is where it is, and I don't feel like being in competition because you're never going to be in competition with me. this may sound conceited, but I'm going to say this. I am my own competition. What I used to be is what I'm trying to be better. Okay. I don't want to be that same person. I want to grow. So I've had people tell me, oh, I'm the only person I would be in competition with is you. That's weirdo behavior. You've marked yourself as insecure. I'm opening my eye to you because this is weird to me. I've never had nobody in my friend group say that, because I know we all are in our different paths, different ways and pathways to grow as a woman. So if you feel that way, I know there's going to be problems and troubles. But the thing is, when you have these conversations about experiences you had with people, they automatically think you're talking bad about them, when in reality, this is what I experienced with you. And this is what I showed up with you. And a lot of people that I have had experiences with, and it's only been like one person, let's be honest, is the lack of accountability when it came to the way that I was spoken to and others were spoken to. And it got to the point where me and this person were no longer cool. And it makes me rethink about that when I think about other friendships that I bring into my life. I haven't had any issues with other women because none of them are insecure. And some people are like, oh, they're not insecure. They're not insecure. They showcase their confidence. If you can showcase your confidence online, but when I see you in person, you're a totally different person, that tells me you're insecure. If you're upset that a man has followed me because I have connections via social media, because of where I am and how much I've hustled in my media world, and they choose to follow me back and you feel a certain type of way, that's insecurity. No one wants to have those conversations. Everybody thinks, oh, if someone perceives themselves on social media in a certain way and certain things that they get to push out from their social media, there's no way they could be insecure. Until you have that relationship and conversation with them, you can clock it. And here's all shade. Every person I brought around this person said the same thing, and I never said anything. I never saw it. They called it out first, and I never want to talk about it. There's people where we're from knew exactly this person is and warned me prior to, and I ignored that. So my thing is with women relationships is, as we get older, if you notice a red flag about a woman being insecure, run away. Because there's nothing going to be a bunch of drama, a bunch of turmoil, a bunch of trauma that they choose not to heal from. And 9 times out of 10, those women are also very male-centered, but don't think they're male-centered because of whatever manipulative thing that they put out there is what they control. So look, Simone is a very perfect example of how a lot of these women who have a social media platform, this is how they think. This is how they move in this world. And it's some real clown ass behavior, because don't get me started on the DaBaby interview. The fact that you sat down with this man after all the shit that he has said, done publicly, and you're still glazing him in bed. And this man is telling you no. And you still trying to get this man's attention. You're a weirdo. That is that in the discussion. If I ever see Simone, I'm going to ask her, why do you keep shaving that cut in your eyebrow? And how come you were trying to be a Leo for 10 plus years on social media? What happened to that? I know it's just a small tidbit into my personal life. I really don't like to have too many of my personal business out there when it comes to that. But maybe one day I'll dive deep into it. But I'm really blessed to have the friendships that I have, the people that I have that reassure me, like, yes, you're an amazing person. Yes, you take accountability. Yes, sometimes you're in the wrong. Yes, I'm going to tell you when you're wrong. And I love that for me. It's been amazing. So yeah, 2021 to 2023, that is a whole learning experience for me. But Simone is a clown, y'all. Let's talk about Essence Fest. So over the weekend, Essence Fest happened. If you don't know what Essence Fest is, obviously you're not African American, and you just go ahead and Google it. But it was created in 1995, and Everybody Named Mama is just a Black African American event where we get to showcase and highlight our culture, our community, because African Americans have that. So the reason that I'm having this conversation is, this year, it was boo-boo. It was trash. If you guys don't know anything, Carolina Wanga is a Kenyan woman. She's known for being in Target's DEI and human researches, and she calls herself, I think it's a cultural architect and a DEI practitioner and stuff like that. She has had some conversations and videos about being Black across the diaspora and how we have to highlight everybody else across the diaspora. But I want to remember this. Essence is an African American magazine magazine that highlighted African American culture with also those across the diaspora. One thing about African Americans is we have no problem making space for those across the diaspora, but the issue is it is not always received the same across the diaspora. I notice when you travel, you do see people who are still in Ghana, who are still in Nigeria, who do want to make spaces for us, who do want to have that connection and conversation. But then you have those who are privileged enough, few generations in, to come to America. And because you guys came to America, grandma, great grandma, whatever it is, your first generation, second generation of being a part of some diaspora, African, Caribbean, your people came here with the ideology and viewpoint of white supremacy rhetoric, which is the American dream. Within the American dream, you are told, be better than the blacks. That means make the money like the white man. You don't want to be considered like the black African American because we get the shit end of the stick. So you have a privilege as an immigrant, as someone who's part of the diaspora, to benefit from black African American culture and your own culture, right? That's a fact. And with that white supremacy rhetoric of coming here from a different place, being a part of the diaspora, you're told black African Americans don't have culture. And I think that is the most hilarious, ignorant thing a lot of people can think and say. Don't tell me, oh, we don't say that, we don't say that, we don't think that. When we know, if you go on social media, we see the diaspora war conversations. Every time for someone overseas in London who may be African, love to say, but you African Americans don't have any culture. You don't have any culture. You're wearing grills and jerseys and dressing like a 2000 rapper who is African American. We have the culture, but white supremacy has told us and told you and told the world we don't have it, and you believed it and you ran with it, and you were privileged enough to run with it to where it benefited you, but you also were privileged enough to be in the spaces that we're in. Because one thing about it, yes, as younger children, we're all evil and we say ignorant things, but African Americans and other people across the diaspora stayed in the same cultural bubble. You cannot deny it. If you're from the South, if you're from the West Coast, you have friends who are African, you have friends who are African American. That's just how we are, right? But because of that and being told that we don't have any culture, you guys forget about us, even though you were able to benefit off of it. And Carolina Wong is a perfect example. This woman worked for Target for 15 plus years in the DEI and HR and calls herself a DEI practitioner. But when you're having conversations, being a part of Essence Ventures, you're excluding African Americans from the conversations to make spaces for those across the diaspora, when we are the reason why you have the space and privilege to be here right now. That's the problem. And it showed up on how Essence Fest was literally showcased this year. It was trash. It was booty. This is a festival highlighting African American culture and history, where we also made spaces for those in diaspora. But here's tea. You have a woman who worked for Target for 15 plus years telling us about Target and DEI. And I can already tell you, you excluded African Americans from that conversation because Target and whoever else works in Target did not believe African Americans had culture, let alone there's a difference between African Americans and the rest of you guys across the diaspora when it comes to our cultural experience, when it comes to our history. And they love to pick those who are not black African Americans, but you also want to sell to us. You also want to connect to us. You want to make products for us. That's the thing. So I'm seeing a lot of these social media posts. You have that one girl, I think her name's Fatu. I can't remember, or Fatima. I need to remember her name. Let me go find her name real quick. I can't find her name, but she is an African content creator who's from Ghana, and she basically got dragged because we had the whole Target boycott where it's like, hey, you're being ignorant towards African Americans. We're one of your biggest people. We're going to boycott you, right? This woman, who is an African influencer, still chose to work with Target and make posts with Target, which makes me side-eye Essence as a whole. Carolina Wonga, a person who worked with Target for 15 plus years, you still had Target at the Essence Festival. That tells me you do not care about African American culture and history. You do not care about African Americans. You just want to make $1 off of it and include your people to change the narrative of something that was created for African Americans by African Americans to highlight our history and culture that you swear we do not have. And that's why supremacy rhetoric at its finest. To benefit off of white supremacy rhetoric as an immigrant across the diaspora to the point that you're able to be successful and be in both communities, African American culture and your own, and exclude us from the conversation? Why do you think Essence Festival failed this year? Why do you think it's getting horrible reviews this year? You're excluding people who made it possible for you to have a platform. How are you a DEI person and you cannot understand culture? You cannot call yourself a cultural practitioner if you do not understand that you have to continue to highlight the community that made it possible for those across the diaspora to even have a voice here. You are literally leaning into white supremacy. You are showcasing that you believed we had no culture, but you also benefited off of African American culture. I am flabbergasted, and seeing this woman's background with Target, it just makes me think you were in these spaces not advocating for African Americans. You were probably doing it to get to where you needed to get and get the bucks and the dollars, and it's not fair. And this is why the conversation about gatekeeping our culture as African Americans, because we have it, should be done. There is no more being able to dip and dabble in our music, in our fashion, in our hair care, everything, because you guys get to benefit off of it and then leave us in the dust. And it also brings me to the conversation. There was a content creator, a beauty influencer, who called this out a long time ago. There's no more African American women and African American people in the beauty space anymore, because most companies just see black skin and say, hey, you all are the same. But these people who get to be in the spaces are part of the diaspora, who get to highlight their culture and their history, with excluding the people who made it possible for people across the diaspora to be chosen as an influencer and a content creator for a brand, for a makeup brand. Without us, it would not be possible. I don't know. African Americans, we really do a number on our own selves. We have to hold accountability because we have always made space and made room for those across the diaspora. Now it is time to kind of like hold our own culture and gatekeep. We have to. We've made so many things possible for others, and when the time comes, they exclude us from the conversation until it has to benefit them again. And that's just how I have to say about this. Carolina Wanga, I hope you learn from this conversation. I hope you learn that you cannot take over someone's culture and history. And as somebody who works in DEI myself, I implore you to do better. 15 years at Target, how many years in Essence? And you don't even know African American culture. Stop booking Lauryn Hill to perform at Essence Fest when she don't want to show up for shit. Dead that shit. Do better. Do better. Hire African Americans. Hire African Americans who knows African American culture. Call me. I can help you out a lot. That's just how I feel about this whole situation. With that being said, thank you guys for listening to episode 6 of Sensitive Diva Podcast. Like, share, comment. This is on YouTube as well. Run it up for your girl. You know, we try and get it out of here. I can't make it too much as a TikTok content creator. Get me out the 9 to 5. Please share this with people that you know who could get your girl out here. Don't you want to see someone behind the podcast that's actually educated and can actually have a legitimate conversation and be real with it? Of course you do. So go ahead, share, like, comment. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to The Diva.
Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me